here, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our sweet potatoes on cooking. And what I got here is I got some butter I've melted in the pan. I've already cut our sweet potatoes up into little rounds, and so we're just going to dump these sweet potatoes into this nice hot butter. All right, and we're not going to season those with anything right now. We will later when we come back, but right now we're just going to kind of toss them around and try to get that butter coated on all of them. And like I say, we'll come back and do a little seasoning and stuff when we get them a little closer to being done. But this is going to take longer than just about anything else, so I want to go ahead and get them going right now. And these are going to be mighty good. Alright, I think we got butter distributed on all of them. So we'll just set our spatula to the side. Now I'm going to move these over to the other eye because I need this big eye to do our deer meat. So let's get this one turned on and set. And then we're going to move that over here. I'm going to turn that off for the moment. Alright, we're going to take our cast iron Dutch oven here. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to put us a whole stick of butter in here. So this is, you know, butter makes everything better. So you know this is going to be good. I'm going to do this a little different. Most people fry their deer meat, but I don't want it fried today. I want to do something a little different with it. So we're going to do it a different way. Put my garbage in the garbage can. All right. We're going to let this butter melt. And then once we get our butter melted, we're going to come back and we're going to put our meat in. Now this is a Backstrap. And I've already took all the silver skin off of it and cut it into smaller pieces because I want it to be, it's about the size of what stew meat would be if you're going to make stew. So we're going to let the butter melt and then we'll get to the meat. Got all kinds of different seasonings that we're going to put in it. And also over here in this little blue pan, that is some green beans that we canned. We probably canned these a couple of years ago. And I got them in there cooking already, but just to show you, that's one of our cans of green beans. Don't think we got too many of them left. I think we're down to about the last maybe one or two that we've got. So that means next year we're going to have to find us some beans to can. But in with the beans, what I did was I put the beans in there and got them to boiling. And I used 1 cube of beef bouillon. I put some dehydrated onions in it, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and about a half a tablespoon of bacon grease. So they should be just out of this world by the time we get them done and heated up. So our butter is melting up pretty nicely here, so it won't be too much longer we can put our meat in it. Now with our meat, once we're finished cooking on the meat, we're gonna make a brown gravy. It's gonna be a homemade brown gravy. It's not gonna be a packaged mix or anything. Alright, that butter is pretty much melted, so let's go ahead and dump our meat in there. Because what we're gonna do with meat here is we're just gonna brown this meat. It won't be just completely fully cooked. It'll just be good and browned. So we'll get that in there, stir it around. Get it all broke up into individual pieces. And I think y'all can see that. I may move the camera over here a little bit closer for you. All right, yeah, right there be good. Like I say, we're just gonna let that cook and let that meat start to brown. I haven't had this deer meat cooked this way in quite some time, but I think it will be extremely good. So y'all seen what we're doing so far. So we're gonna come back here in a few minutes when this meat gets done. Not gonna make you watch it cooking. And so we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, so it's starting to get going here. So let's put some seasonings in it. First thing we're going to put in is a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And there's all different ways to say that. Worcestershire, W sauce. There's just all different ways, but that's what we're going to put in there to start with. We're going to put just a little bit of soy sauce in it. All right. A little bit of garlic powder. And a little bit of onion powder. Now we're not going to put any extra salt in there because we got a lot of salt with that Worcestershire and that soy sauce. We're going to put some pepper in there. Pepper's always good. Alright, and then the final thing, I forgot to get it out of the refrigerator, but that's alright. We can get it if I can get to it. Now this is something that you can do several different things on. I'm going to use the A1 marinade. Now you can use Dale's or you can use just any other flavor that you like. But we're going to put a little bit of that in there. And again, there's no real measurements with this. It's just you do what you like and as much of it as you like. And then you can always add more to it at the end if you think you didn't get enough in there. That's looking pretty good right there. We're going to let that meat continue to cook down a little bit before we do anything else with it. Alright, and one other seasoning that we're going to put in there with this. This is a little bit of prime rib rub. It's got a little bit of garlic and, garlic and rosemary in it. So we're going to put a little bit of that in there. Not a lot, just a little bit to give it a little more flavor. Give it another stir around there. Alright, and that's going to take just a few more minutes and it will be done. Or well, it won't be done, but it'll be ready for the next step. Alright, so we're ready for our next step now. We're going to take this meat out. It's been cooking there for just a few minutes, and so we're going to take the meat out for just a minute. Let's put it in a bowl by itself. You know, cooking this deer meat brings back memories. Back when I was a kid, my mom and dad ran a little grocery store, and we processed meat for people that had killed a deer, and they'd bring it to us, and we'd process it for them. And thank goodness, when they'd come pick up their meat, a lot of times they would give us some of the meat that they had. And so we pretty well had meat all the time, the deer meat. And so that was a good thing that we were always able to have deer meat. And now, got a good friend of mine, Mr. Andrew Wilkinson, that he has provided me with some meat. And so that's what this is. This is what he gave me from last year, and had forgotten that I had the backstrap. So thank you, Andrew. We appreciate it. All right, and I got to get some flour, so we'll be back in just a minute. All right, y'all. So we got our meat cooking here. Our meat's been taken out. I'm sorry, and we got our mix left that we're going to be making our gravy out of. So what we're going to do is we're going to get us a little bit of flour here. We're going to dump that flour in there. And we're going to give it a stir up and see what we got. And what you'll see is you'll see that flour starting to thicken that mixture that we had that had the butter and all the seasonings in it and everything. Yeah, that's thickening up. Smelling good. All right, so what we need now is some water. Now, I know you're thinking, well, why are you using water and not using milk? Well, because we're making a brown gravy. We're not going to make a milk gravy. And so we don't want to have milk in it. Now, you could use beef broth or something like that if you wanted to, but we're just going to use plain old water. We'll put our water in there and we'll stir it around here. I believe I will get us a whisk to do that with. I think that might work a little better. Get everything broke down, and I'm going to turn our heat back up just a little bit while we're waiting on that to start thickening. And like I say, once it starts thickening, then we'll be able to put our meat back in it. I think it's about time to probably do some turning on these sweet potatoes. They're starting to look pretty good. Oh yeah, sweet potatoes are looking nice. Got one there wants to stick. All right, let's see how we're coming on our gravy mix here. Yeah, it's starting to thicken up a little bit. I'm gonna let it go for a few minutes, and then we're gonna put our meat back in there. Give it some good stirring, get everything broke up and get the lumps out of it. That smells so good. Alright, we're going to put just a little bit more water in there. We don't want it to get too thick on us. Alright. We're starting to get a little sheen to the top of that, so I believe that it is just about ready for us to put our meat back in it. So we're going to take our meat now. We're going to pour our meat all back in there. Just add that juice that's still in there, add it back to it. And we're going to just stir that around. Oh, that's looking good. I think my mouth's already watering just smelling it and looking at it. All right, so got that part done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put our lid on there, and we're going to turn it down to simmer. And now this is going to simmer for probably about 30 minutes or so. That'll give our potatoes time to cook and get ready. Oh yeah, those sweet potatoes are looking great. And try to get them all flipped over where we got different ones on the bottom than what we had to start with. All right, so that's cooking up good. All right, y'all, so I'm gonna go ahead and get off, and I'll come back with you when everything's just about ready to sit down and have a bite. All right, so y'all, I think we're about ready. We still got one thing to do though. Our sweet potatoes are pretty sweet right now, but I always like to put just a little bit of white sugar over them, not a lot. We're just going to sprinkle some over the top, give them a little bit more of a sweetness. Then we're going to take them and stir that all around. We're going to let that heat back up because our potatoes got done a little quicker than our meat did. And I thought that the meat would only take about 30-45 minutes, but we actually wound up letting it cook for about an hour before it finally got to the tenderness that I wanted it at. So we're going to heat these potatoes back up. Like I say, we put us a little sugar in there with them. Let them get good and hot again. We got our green beans are ready. And like I say, these are our canned, what everybody in this area calls a Hamby bean. And you can see the broth is pretty brown. That's from the beef bouillon cube that I put in it. But they're good and ready to go. And our meat and our gravy's ready. And y'all remember I said this is going to have rice with it. So again, I love my 90-second rice. That's the 90-second rice. Put it in the microwave. Takes 90 seconds to cook it. So got me some of that put on a plate over here. And we're just waiting on these potatoes to heat back up. Kind of melt that sugar into them a little bit. So while we're waiting on that to happen, I'm going to go ahead and put me some of this meat and gravy over this rice that I got. And now this being cast iron, it is hot. So if you're using one of these, be sure that you use a pot holder or you'll have a burnt hand. We're just going to set that right over there. All right, and get our spoon out here. And again, hold everything with a pot holder because it is hot. And y'all can see that made a great gravy. Poured out this way so you can kind of see it, but that is a good homemade brown gravy. So we're going to get us a little bit of the meat. I'm going to scoot it over a little closer. We're going to put us some meat on there. And we're going to get us some more of that gravy because that is the best part. Well, the deer meat's really good, but the gravy is awesome. I really can't explain the taste of it to you other than to tell you that it really does taste good. And our potatoes are getting warmed up, and we have incorporated that little bit of sugar in with them. Like I say, they were pretty sweet just to start with, but we'll sweeten them up just a touch bit more and let you see what those potatoes look like. Oh, do those not look great? Ain't nothing like some fried sweet potatoes. So we're gonna get us some of them. Put on this plate. I don't know, maybe I'll save some for Audrey. Shouldn't help me today, so I don't know. Should I let her have some of this? Yeah, I probably should. All right, got some sweet potatoes there. We'll turn that eye off. We've got everything cut off. We want to get us some of these green beans. And remember, like I said, used a little bit of minced onion, dried onion, some onion powder, bouillon cube, salt, pepper, and a little bit of bacon grease. Didn't use a lot of bacon grease because I didn't want it to have a really, really heavy bacon taste to it, but did use a little bit. All right. The only thing missing is if we had some cornbread, but I just didn't have time to make cornbread. So I'm going to let this cool just a minute because everything is blazing hot, and then we'll come back and give it a taste. Well, everything has had time to cool down a little bit because I got a very sensitive tongue and throat, so I can't eat something that is just piping hot. So I have to always let everything cool down a little bit, but we've let it cool down. I'm gonna lift the camera up here and hopefully be able to show you what this plate looks like. There we go. We got our sweet potatoes, green beans, rice, and our deer meat with gravy. And I'll tell you, if the way it smells is any indication, this is going to be awesome. So I'm going to try the green beans and sweet potatoes first. Hopefully we're saving the best for last. So here goes some green beans. Those green beans are so good. And the best thing about it is I grew those myself. So didn't plant any this year, but probably going to have to next year because, like I say, we're down to our last jar, maybe last 2 jars, and then that's all we got. So we're going to give these sweet potatoes a try now. My goodness. Mm. If you've never had sweet potatoes like this, you got to try these. All you do is cut them up kind of thin, put you some butter in a pan, put them in the pan, cook them. When they get soft, add you a little bit of white sugar to them, and they are out of this world. All right, so now we're going to go for the star of the show, and we're going to see how I did on it. Don't know for sure. Been a long time since I made this, so hopefully it is going to be good. But we got us a piece of deer meat, we got us some rice, we got gravy, and here goes. As the Cajuns would say, woo-wee, Lord have mercy, that's good. I'm telling you, that gravy is out of this world. Um, like I say, the deer meat I did have to cook a little longer than I thought I would to be able to get the tenderness. So if you do this recipe, Just cook your deer meat until it's tender. And, you know, you could use the tenderloin, backstrap, you know, any part of the deer you could use. The good thing is that it's healthy. You know, deer meat's really good and healthy for you. And so, you know, if you make this is just going to be a different way to do it. Most people usually just fry their tenderloin in their backstrap and, or tenderloin backstrap. Um, but this is a different way to do it to have something a little more substantial than just fried. Going to be healthier for you. And I'm telling you, it is good. Uh, you know, you've heard that old saying, make you want to smack your granny. That's how good it is. Of course, you don't want to smack your granny because she'll probably smack you back. So, anyway, y'all, I appreciate you being with us tonight, staying with us until we got it done, and hope you'll try it, see what you think. Of course, it'd be hard for you to get the Hamby beans unless you've got some canned or know somebody that does have some canned. But if you can get your hands on them, they're really good. But I'll tell you something you can use instead that's almost as good, and that's the Allen uh, Italian cut green beans. You get those and you season them just like I season these, and they are really, really good. So if y'all can't get those beans, go ahead and get you some of the Allen's Italian and use those, and you can have something really, really close. All right, y'all. I'm gonna say good night, and I'm gonna go sit down and eat this, and may get me a little more. Get stuffed and eat way too much. Um, Last thing, if y'all would please subscribe, like, and share these videos. We're growing the channel. We're getting new subscribers almost every day, but we still need to get as many as we can. I was watching one lady on there. Of course, she's been doing it for 12 years, but she's about to hit 1 million subscribers. That would be awesome to someday hit 1 million subscribers. So y'all help us out. Go on there, like it, and subscribe to it. And we'll see you next time. Y'all have a good one.